Old coworker of mine. He was helping me move and while we were carrying a couch he dropped it. Thinking he was hurt I asked if he was okay and with the most serious and frightening look in his eyes he said pointing, "Look, it's the moon and it's daytime." He was 25 at the time.
In grade 1, the teacher told the class that the moon only came out at night. The moon was clearly visible through the window, so I asked, "If the moon only comes out at night, what's that?" She replied, "Cheese," and also sent me to the principal's office for disrupting the class. That was 30 years ago and I still hold a grudge about it.
Tell me your stories, guys. There was this guy at my high school that wasn't too bright and was mostly harmless, but about halfway through decided he was gonna be a thug. One day he goes into a class of first years when their teacher wasn't there and robs all their electronics, cash and valuables at knife point without covering his face, and before he left gave them his real name saying, "And you better not tell them it was me, Jim Conrad, that stole all your stuff." He then proceeded to leave school grounds with all the stolen stuff but decides against stashing it off campus, and so came back with all the stolen stuff in his backpack and went back to spy on the class with his backpack full of loot while police officers were there taking statements to make sure they weren't ratting him out. Edit. For those that want the end of the story but it's too buried to find. The kids all rat him out and when he hears his name he steps into the class proclaiming he'd gut them if they didn't take back, saying he did it. With the officers still in the class and all his loot on his back. He was expelled and arrested, and when word got to our year group everyone just face-palmed. Edit 2. I don't know why he's so stupid, but it wasn't an isolated act of idiocy. It was quite well known by everyone in my year group how dumb he was. In fact, he didn't even qualify for admission, but his family called in a ton of favors to get him in on recommendation. When I was a senior in high school, 1999, we had like a month or so left before graduation and this fucking idiot deleted the teacher's gradebook from the computer. This was a teacher who was just filling in for the woman who was out on maternity leave. He told us he'd burn down our houses if we told on him. The vice principal called anyone who was near the front of the room one by one to the office to be interviewed. Everybody told him immediately who did it. I felt bad for the woman. She is crying because she thought she had lost all of the grades. Turns out the idiot didn't even empty the trash on the computer. Tell me your stories, guys. I've posted this story before, but this seems like another appropriate thread for this story. One night during high school, my friend and I got invited to a party. I didn't drive back then, so my friend picked me up. All went well on our way to the party. On the way back, however, he got pulled over. As we were pulling to the side of the road, I told him that I was gonna pretend to be sleeping, since I was the passenger. Anyway, I hear the cop get out of his cop car, walk towards our car, stops at the window but doesn't say anything. I can feel the brightness of his flashlight but I don't hear him or my friend say anything. After about what seemed like an eternity, I decide to open my eyes to see what's going on. That's when I see my friend, the guy who is driving, is pretending like he is sleeping too. Tell me your stories, guys. I knew this guy in high school really thought his practical jokes were hilarious. He would just do stuff designed to piss you off, thinking your salty reaction would make it funny. You may be thinking this guy's a dick and you'd be right. But he's also incredibly stupid, because every time someone said, "Dude, fucking chill out with your bullshit," he just blew it off. Social stupidity, I guess. Well, one day he knocked this kid's hat off his head. These guys were friends but clearly there was some hostility. Other kid picks up his hat and tells Pranker to fuck off. Pranker smacks his hat again. Other kid tells him if Pranker knocks his hat off a third time, he'd knock Pranker's head off. Pranker has a shit-eating grin, completely oblivious to how dead-ass serious this guy was, and got absolutely clocked in the face when he fucked with this guy's hat a third time. All he could say was, "What the fuck, man, chill out," but no one was willing to hear him out. Tell me your stories, guys. I had manager named Roxanne, Rocky. She was a bleach blonde, literally bleached her hair once a month and then wondered why it broke, fell out, bubblehead who only had the job because daddy owned the restaurant. Rocky was really obsessed with her looks and not much else. One day she told me, and a coworker, that she had her nose job done so that her eventual children wouldn't grow up with the same nose as her. She wasn't kidding. The coworker and I just looked at each other and walked away. We knew it wasn't worth the effort. Tell me your stories, guys. My mom's cousin was the getaway driver when his friends held up a 7-Eleven. He had some outstanding tickets at the time. As he was driving his moron friends him home, he sped past a cop, who inevitably pulled him over. He defended his bad driving by telling the cop he was just the getaway driver. Then he got arrested. He has since been arrested for a series of other similarly stupid crimes. He also believes that there's a global cabal of Jews who are out to get him. Recently, he got a DUI, which got his license revoked. This was obviously because of the Jews and not because he decided to drive drunk past a police station. When he was denied a gun license, that was the Jews at work. I have no idea why he thinks a global cabal would be focused on some moron from Saskatchewan. Tell me your stories, guys. My friend's sister was 20 and pregnant. She said something about how upset she was her vagina would be ruined. I jokingly said, maybe he'll come out of your butt instead. She said, what do you mean? Can they come out of there too? I thought she was joking, so I just said, duh, it's a 50-50 shot. She thought I was serious and asked her doctor if he could tell if the baby was gonna come out of her vagina or ass. Edit. I know technically you can tear from your vagina to your ass in labor, meaning technically, since it kinda becomes one hole, that the baby would come out of the vag-ass hole, but she didn't think this, she thought she would shit the baby out. Edit 2. Since I've been a few people bring it up, she figured out I was just fucking with her. She told her sister, my friend, what the doctor said, and my friend told her that I was joking. Edit 3. Should also mention there's a 30% chance it may be her first cousin's baby. She told me they only made out, but her friend let it slip that they'd been banging.
If I was the doctor, I would ask her if she got pregnant via her vagina or ass. That's the answer.
Tell me your stories, guys. When I was in the military, we had to halt a convoy due to a broken down truck. So I was standing around with a few others for security when I hear a driver behind us yelling for his squad leader. Looking to see what he needed, I observed thick smoke billowing from his truck. He keeps yelling, "My truck is on fire." Without getting out of his seat and attempting to extinguish the fire, remove the weapons, ammo, and sensitive electronics. I was dumbfounded. Tell me your stories, guys. Reminds me of someone I used to live with. I heard panicked shouting from the kitchen, so I rush in to see what was happening and see him holding a burning paper towel in his hand, waving it around and holding it so the flames were climbing towards his hand. I told him to drop it and quickly stomped it out. Turns out, he had turned on our gas stove with the paper towel nearby, for some reason. I don't know if you can be stupider than screaming about something about to burn you, without doing anything to stop it. Edit. Thank you for pointing out that this might be part of his panic response. Because I feel like it slightly invalidates that story. Here's another one about the same guy, who is about to graduate from a private college. He returned from a flight to an empty and locked house, but during his travel he had lost his keys, of course. So he gets to the house and calls everyone else living in the house. The earliest any of us will be there is in half an hour, which we tell him. He freaks out over this and starts cussing us out, even the one who offered to go home earlier to let him in. On the phone he says, "I'm just going to kick the door in," and I hear him kick the door a grand total of 4 times before he picks his phone back up to cuss us out some more. I'm with half my housemates on campus. We see how desperate he is, so we tell him he should try to climb in through an unlocked bedroom window. We tell him it's been done before, and exactly how to do it. But then he has this stroke of pure genius, which blew us away. He goes, "But if I come in through the window, how will I get my bag in?" We have a simple non-auto locking door, and his genius brain couldn't figure out to unlock it from the inside. We had to talk to him for at least 10 minutes to explain the concept.